Hello, world. Welcome to Talkin Live, and our hearts are heavy for the people in California. Well, we're glad you tuned in. I hope you are. We're looking forward to hear comments on this show. We'd like to hear more comments that we get on our different shows. We'd like to hear from you telling us what you think of the show. You know, you can't hurt my feelings. I learned that you have to deal in life without getting your feelings hurt. Just take it and go with it. You know what I mean? So I'd like for you to think about the people in California that are suffering today. And of course, we hear voices saying a lot of things. And all weekend I've watched the chaos, the suffering, and the misery in California. It's been such a weekend that you know, you think that maybe it's going to get better, but it's got worse. On the winds are blowing, the fire just spreading. You know, we didn't have no one out there to prepare for it. You know, we have mountains around here. We have Lookout Mountain, we have Signal Mountain, we're in a valley like ourselves. And where I live, we have Fort Mountain. We have all these mountains around us. We have all these woods, these forests that we have. And, of course, there's a lot of animals living, like coyotes, you know, wooded areas. I mean, tons and tons. People live around here, have farms, have wooded areas and all that. And, you know, not saying we won't have a fire one day, but we are prepared for it. We had a fire on Lookout Mountain here a while back. I think it got to burn 4 or 5 acres before they put it out. Then we had a fire, of course, up in North Carolina, around Dollywood, that area. It got exterminated. It didn't go as far as it is in California. You know, it's hard to believe that a community and with all the money that these people have out there, that their mayor, their governor could not look out for them. I mean, all the taxes they pay to live in California, Malibu, Palisades, and all them areas, and our government around here makes sure we got prepared for fire. We're always prepared for fire. We have burn times that you burn your leaves. We have times you know, maybe if you want to burn off your grass or something, like on a farm or something. We have those times, but we wait till the weather is cooperated with us, so we don't burn these things off, these lands and areas without supervision, and make sure that everything is good around. If we have a spark go to the wrong place, we're there. And where I live, I have trees all around my house, and if it was the same thing as California, it would be basically, if we had a big fire like California, if we had a fire like that, it would be contained before it got started. You know, not saying it can't get that big, but we are familiar with fires around here. And California should be. I understand the tanks was not full of water. What kind of management is that? What kind of management is that you got a big city with all these taxpayers, with these multi-million-dollar homes, that you cannot prepare for what something like this that happened? All these planes, all the lives lost. I mean, lives being lost. And I know we have arsonists out in California that's probably started a lot of these fires. You know, if our government was put a penalty for what people do up higher than what they do now, then they wouldn't have as much. Of course, you're going to always have someone that don't have no brain, no sense, no feelings, no heart to maybe set these fires and do these things. I've seen fires before, and all the animals have to suffer for it, not just the people. Our wildlife suffers for it. Even, we had a fire in a house down in Dalton, Georgia, which is wooded area. Dalton's wooded. It has a lot of homes. It has mountains around it, small mountains, but don't have the same issue. Not saying we can't. But if we manage, and we have tanks, water tanks on these mountains too, that have millions of gallons of water in them in case of a fire. We have just a ridge, it's just a ridge, and probably it's wooded. And you can stand on your back porch and look at the whole city of Chattanooga up there, and they don't have those fires. Also, they got a big tank up there with millions and millions of gallons of water in it too. Prepare yourself for stuff like that. Why all the money that's wasted on the other things, and they didn't spend it to look out for the taxpayers, the people. And I'm talking about movie stars. I'm talking about other people who don't have the money, and the insurance companies out there trying to get out of paying. All that going on out there. The insurance company needs to be made to pay. If they took the money for the policy, they need to be made to pay for it. Our government needs to make this insurance companies that deny payment for these people that have lost their homes, or, even their pets. And it's like I was saying, a house fire down here in Dalton, Georgia. Even the pet got burned alive, and there was 5 people died in the fire. It was a mobile home. Mobile homes are just like a matchbox waiting to catch a fire. We can all burn alive if we don't everybody have a smoke detector, and if you got gas heat, you need to have a detector of gas fumes, all that stuff. You can live in a house. That's something that everybody needs. If they live in a house with gas, electricity, whatever. But yeah, if we have a wood-burning stove, I used to have a wood-burning stove. I used to burn coal up in Kentucky in a stove. I know how it is to live in a house with no central heating area. I know how it is. I've been there. See, that's what Talkin Live's about. It's talking about people that been there and are there that are suffering because of our government, are not having the policies and not looking out for us. And I just seen a text on Gavin Newsom said that Donald Trump would withhold money from California to help these people. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Now, Biden has withheld money for the Carolinas, for the hurricanes and all the floods out up there. He's withheld money and went down to Ethiopia and give $1 billion away. And he's got people suffering up here, no place to live in cold weather, rain, snow, and all that. And they're having to live in that. And, I just don't get people say they love their country and do things like they're doing to us today. Our county and our city is prepared for stuff like what happened in California. And so if we hillbillies can prepare for fires and not have those big outbreaks. And we take in taxes here, and that we take in enough to prepare for our emergencies. Deuces County, Walker County, Whitfield County, all these different counties around us that have, just tons of forests around us. On Missionary Ridge, I was talking about the tank up there. I mean, it's wooded in the back of the houses up there. I mean, there's all kinds of forests. There's a lot of coyotes live up there. I mean, they come out, looking for something to eat. And, that's the sad part about, bears and deers and beavers and all the different wildlife that live in this area in California, and just sit back and and that ain't count the human beings that has to go through all this. I seen where a lot of people were standing in front of their house and talking about all the stuff they'd lost, irreplaceable stuff. Mel Gibson, I seen him on Fox. He was talking about how he had old books and, collected all this stuff. I understand what he's talking about. You collect all that stuff and you have it in your house, and some of it's real valuable. Some books are valuable. Or a lot of books are valuable. And you put them in your library, you have them there, you spend a lot of money, and all of a sudden some idiot that's running your county or running your city lets your house burn down. These tanks have been full, holding tanks have been full like they're supposed to be, and all this wouldn't have happened. I mean, it might have happened, but it wouldn't have been as bad because they had the water available to put the fires out. And then they can get up and they say that they're looking out for their country. And then what another thing makes you angry, they don't know why it happened. Really, they know why it happened, because they were careless, they didn't care. That's exactly is why it happened. Politicians always wondered why everything happened. And I ain't talking about just Democrats. I'm talking about most all of them. Why did this happen? Like the Democrats, why did they lose the election? Why did this happen? And they look around them and they don't feel no guilt whatsoever. They don't feel guilty about nothing that happened. Now, if you had an earthquake out in California, you could say, well, that's God's business right there. Which God let it happen. The fires happen because God let it happen. And we want to be praying for it to rain out there. Put a stop to this fires in there. As not rain too much where the mudslides will be bad. But just enough to put the fire out. And save all of this lives that are lost because of somebody's carelessness. Even if arson did start the fire, it's your responsibility to look out for those things. People can say, well, I ain't worried about tomorrow. Well, you're not supposed to, as far as what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, and all that, because God will take care of that. But God gives us sense enough to prepare for the worst. He gives us understanding and knowledge. It's like the pandemic. We weren't prepared for that. But it came and wiped out a bunch of people. We weren't prepared. And you know why we weren't prepared? Because one reason, we forget who is in charge. Newsom's not in charge out there when it comes to the earthquake and the earthquakes and all that. But he is responsible for the simple things of human race that happens in this world. Be prepared for it. I mean, when the house caught fire in Los Angeles, was not the fire department there to put it out. They were prepared. But this is such a massive destruction, you could, Newsom and mayor of Los Angeles, you could have prepared for it. And all this suffering when they had to come. All this sadness, all this loss, lives, homes destroyed, families, people that can't afford it, and people that can afford it. It's wrong. It's like a life. When you lose something like a house like it, a fire is the most devastating thing can happen to you. You lose your clothes, you lose just nothing on your back, lose your animals, lose everything you work for. It don't matter if you got all the money in the world, you still lost what was dear to you. And because of some politician that's too busy taking down in Africa, why, I don't know. She's a mayor of Los Angeles, not the mayor of Africa. Why is she in Africa? No purpose. Down there, see, that's what gets me with these politicians. They're always somewhere in another country trying to take care of somebody else and letting our country go to hell in a handbasket. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, but you're in other countries always trying to take care of the issues over there instead of the ones here. I know you have to go to other countries to meet with the leaders and the people that are in charge of the country. I know you have to do that. But before you leave, why don't you get everything set together before you take off? It's like this: when you go on a vacation, you prepare for it. You make sure your animals took care of. You make sure that somebody's going to look after your house. You make sure that all these things going to be took care of when you go on a vacation. Because you're going out to enjoy yourself, but before you leave, you've got to make sure that everything's okay. If you own a company, you want to before you take a vacation, you want to make sure everything's going to run right before you leave. That's how you run this country too. You make sure that you're going to take care of all the issues in your country, your responsibility, before you leave. You don't go down to Ethiopia and give $1 billion away. You stay in your country and you run it. You don't go to Venezuela. You don't stay on vacations all the time. I know you can't stay awake, but crap, man, you ought to wake up once in a while, don't you? That's the way I see it. But people say I'm drunk sometimes when I do a show. Yeah, well, sometimes I feel like that people just don't have a lick of sense anymore, don't have no reason, and don't have no... I know somebody right now, you could tell them you're dying, you're going to kill yourself. You keep doing this to yourself, but they keep on going. They tell me I'm trying to boss them. I can't do it, I'm going to tell them. But I tell you what voters can do. They can do it. They can make sure when they vote a politician in that they're going to look out for their country and look out for their city, look out for their county. That's what you're supposed to put in there. Don't vote somebody in that's dying to raise your taxes. vote somebody in that wants to work out a way, figure a way that won't hurt you so bad as an American. When you go in office, you make sure you're prepared to help the people, not yourself. It's not about your power, it's about your job. And that's what happened in California. People was worried about Donald Trump, immigrants, and all these other things that should not be. And they let this happen. They didn't plan for it. They didn't do their job. They don't belong in office. This woman don't belong as a mayor in California, Los Angeles. And Newsom don't belong as a governor. Now, if you want a governor to stay in office and let you go and not do nothing, look out for you, keep him in there, vote for him. He's Democrat. Be sure you vote for him. He's Democrat. But if he's a Republican and he's not fit to office, don't vote for him either. But find somebody you can vote for to look out for you. Find somebody, draft somebody in. Draft somebody in that cares. Get rid of the non-caring politicians and say, look, this job is for you to do this and you do that. What you're supposed to do for the people. If you don't, we're getting rid of you. If we don't vote you out, we'll draw up a petition and get rid of you. That's what you politicians need. And if you don't come on this show, I'd invite Newsom on here. I'd invite anybody on this show. I'm ready for you. I hate doing shows by myself. I'm ready for anybody that wants to come. If you don't believe in God, you don't believe in this, you don't believe in that, you don't think this, you don't think that, I'm ready for you if you want to do a show virtually. We can do it virtually. I'm going to try to get a hold of Mel Gibson and a lot of these people do that. But right now, if you've got something to say about what's happening in California and you're a part of the loss out there, you get in touch with Talkin Live. We'll sit down, we'll talk with you. We want to hear about how sorry your politicians are. We don't want them in there again. If they can't keep hell from burning us up alive, if I lived there. If I lived in California and I had a politician that wanted to let everything go and my city turn into a burning infernal hell, I'd want to get rid of that sucker. But right now, I like to say a prayer for you. You don't have to have confidence in me. I'm not talking to you. I'm asking God for you. Father, in the name of Jesus, I ask for rain in California. In the name of Jesus, I ask for mercy in California. I ask you, Lord, to have mercy on the people that are suffering. Even the animals are suffering, Lord. Lord, all things you created is yours. And you know how to take care of them, whether it be a human being or whether it be an animal. And I'm asking you, Lord, to send rain upon California that'll put these fires out. I'm asking you to let the winds, the Santa Ana winds, die down to nothing so they can get control of this fire and help them, Lord, put the fires out. I'm asking you, Lord, because you're the only one can deliver these people from this hell. And you're the only one that can reach your hand down and You know, I remember Elijah, there wasn't no rain, there wasn't even a cloud in the sky. There may not be a cloud in the sky in California, but Lord, you can send a big cloud. You can perform a miracle for them. Be with them, Lord. Take care of them. Help them through this hour of torment. In Jesus' name. God bless all of you.
Madam Mayor, David Blevins from Sky News in the UK.
I'm not going to do that.
We're fire chiefs say that they're really stretched to the limit and running out of water. What have you got to say to that?
Me, okay?
Have you no response to that? Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up, boss? I appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the call.
Why is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
These cameras are designed really well, and any kind of small ember would really pop against that black background, especially up in the hillsides. We didn't see any of that. Now, of course, this is just visual from us. Like I always say, I'm just a guy in the back of a helicopter, but we're also taking a look at some of that devastation once again. That's that Palisades neighborhood that we once saw when we were making all that crazy effort to see through the haze and smoke. This morning, we don't have any of that, but all that devastation definitely remains out there. But we do see law enforcement. That's what we saw in the very first shot, and they are out here in force. They are definitely keeping an eye on all these people's properties. They don't want to add insult to injury with some sort of looting type of situation. But right now, as the fire goes, I'm really very hopeful and positive that when this next wind event comes, we're just going to start dealing with the ash and debris blowing off these hillsides. But take a look at that. 23,000 acres burned, most of it up in these hillsides, and it is completely void of any kind of vegetation. Everybody that lives in Los Angeles, we know what's coming next. But right now, we're just dealing with what we're dealing with, and hopefully this next wind event will not see any fires.
The views and opinions expressed on all Talkin Live presentations are those of the host and their guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Talkin Live TV broadcast studio, or by this channel or its management.